You know how crucial it is to make sure kids have those essential life skills, right? Beyond just like the ABCs and 123s.
Mm,
It's that ability to solve problems and handle real-life situations that really matters.
absolutely. Those are the skills that truly equip them for success.
Yeah, exactly. Like just the other day, my son, he got himself into this whole standoff with a peanut butter jar.
Oh,
Let's just say it involved a lot of frustration
yeah.
and a very sticky countertop.
It's those everyday challenges that really highlight why practical skills are so important.
Right. And that brings us to what we're diving into today, skill fusion activities. You sent some info over about this, right?
I did, yeah.
Because you're looking for resources to help your kids thrive. And at first glance, I have to admit, it gave me those activity book vibes. But something tells me there's more to it.
Yeah, it does seem like there's more to it than meets the eye.
What's your initial take on this from what you've seen so far?
Well, what's interesting is that skill fusion claims to go beyond the usual kind of learning.
Okay.
They're talking about a whole range of skills, not just the academic stuff, but things like communication, financial literacy, even practical things like cooking.
Okay, so they're covering all the bases. But who are these activities actually for?
Right.
Is it just for parents? Or can educators use them too?
They seem to be trying to reach a pretty broad audience, actually. Parents, teachers, homeschoolers, anyone who plays a role in a child's development.
I see.
It's like they're trying to create this one-stop shop for skill building, regardless of the learning environment.
Interesting. But the big question is, do they actually deliver on that promise?
Right.
Do they actually make kids more well-rounded? Let's get into the specifics. What about these activities really stood out to you?
Well, they highlight a lot of different activities on their website, everything from self-awareness and motor skills
Okay.
to things like, financial literacy, which is so important these days.
Definitely.
They even have activities that focus on cooking. I thought that was a clever way to work in some practical life skills.
Speaking of clever, they had me at cooking activities that come with a free food coloring book.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah. I mean, what kid wouldn't be excited about that? It's like they're sneaking in the learning while the kids are having fun.
That's really important, that engagement piece. Skill Fusion seems to understand that keeping children interested is key, especially for younger kids. By making it fun, by incorporating play, they're more likely to hold kids' attention.
Makes sense.
And that helps them really invest in the learning process.
Okay, but before we get too carried away with free coloring books,
Right.
let's talk about the activities themselves. What specific skills are they covering within these different categories?
They've got a really wide range, everything from like fine motor skills activities for the little ones to stuff like more complex problem solving for older kids.
Okay, so they've got all ages covered.
Yeah, for example, they have activities to help kids learn how to manage their emotions, how to communicate effectively, things like that.
That makes sense.
It's really about giving them a bunch of different skills to work with.
I've always thought that teaching kids emotional intelligence is just as important as the academic stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
But speaking of traditional learning, let's talk about those testimonials for a sec.
Yeah.
I'm always a little skeptical of those, my child transformed overnight stories.
Sure.
Do any of them ring true to you?
Testimonials are always a bit tricky, aren't they?
Yeah.
They can be really powerful for marketing, but that doesn't mean they reflect everyone's experience.
Right.
It's just one perspective,
True. But they did have one from a teacher, John D., who said he uses the activities in his classroom to get the kids thinking critically and working together.
Okay.
He seemed genuinely impressed, which I thought was interesting.
Oh, that is interesting. Hearing positive feedback from an educator, someone who's actually using these activities in a real classroom, that carries a bit more weight for me. It suggests that maybe Skill Fusion is onto something with their approach.
Okay, I'm definitely more intrigued, but there's one more thing I have to ask about this free activities offer. This is where things get a little hard to believe.
Oh, okay. Tell me more. What's the catch?
Well, if Skill Fusion doesn't have activities for a specific skill you're looking for, you could just request them through their website.
Wait a minute, they'll just create new activities based on requests. For free.
That's what they claim.
Wow.
It seems like a win-win, right? Parents get exactly what they need, and Skill Fusion gets to add to their activity library.
That's a pretty bold move.
Right.
On the one hand, it's incredibly generous, but on the other hand, I do wonder about the sustainability of that.
Yeah, I could see that.
Creating high-quality educational content takes a lot of time and resources.
It does.
It really does.
That's a really good point. Maybe it's a way to, see what the demand is.
Right.
and then prioritize which activities they develop in the future.
Exactly. Exactly. It'll be interesting to see how they handle that as their library gets bigger. But, this whole free activities thing, it speaks to something really crucial, that skill fusion seems to get the importance of customization in learning.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
You're right. Every child is different. They have different interests, different learning styles.
Exactly.
And this free activities offer suggests that they understand that.
Right.
It's honestly really refreshing.
Absolutely. This personalized approach. It's right in line with all the current research that emphasizes differentiated instruction.
Yeah.
Not every child learns the same way, so why should we teach them all the same way?
Right. It makes perfect sense.
Right.
Okay, so we've covered their wide range of activities, their focus on engagement and fun, and their unique approach to customization. But what does it all mean in the big picture?
To me, the most compelling thing about skill fusion is that they get it. The world has changed.
Okay.
And the skills kids need to thrive have changed right along with it.
You mean those, 21st century skills we're always hearing about?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Critical thinking, problem solving, communication, being able to adapt. These are the skills that will serve kids well no matter what they end up doing with their lives.
And skill fusion seems to be tapping into that by going beyond just the traditional academic stuff and focusing on the whole child.
Exactly. And doing it in a way that's fun and engaging for kids, which, let's face it, is half the battle.
You're telling me. So after diving deep into skill fusion activities, I gotta say, I'm cautiously optimistic now. They've got a lot to offer, that's for sure. What about you?
I agree. They've got a lot going for them.
Yeah.
That wide range of activities, the focus on fun, that free activities thing, it's a very intriguing concept.
Right.
But you're right, the real test is in the execution. How engaging are those activities for kids, really?
Exactly.
And do they actually work? Do they help kids use those skills in real life?
Yeah.
That's what matters.
That's what it all comes down to. Now, before we wrap up, one last question for you. If you had to pick just one essential life skill for kids today, what would it be?
Oh, that's a tough one.
It is tough, right?
There are so many important ones, but if I had to choose just one, I'd say adaptability.
Adaptability.
Yeah. The world is changing so fast these days.
It really is.
Technology, how we interact with each other, even the job market, it's constant change.
All the time, yeah.
And the kids who can adapt to new situations, pick up new things quickly, who can actually embrace change, they're going to have a serious advantage.
It's like that secret superpower, isn't it? Adaptability.
It
It
is.
helps you handle whatever life throws your way.
Exactly.
And the good news is, it's something you can learn.
Absolutely.
So to everyone listening, if there's one thing to take away from this deep dive, it's this. Think about how you can help your child become more adaptable. Maybe you check out Skill Fusion, or maybe you just encourage them to try new things, face new challenges.
Those are great ideas. It's
Right.
all about that growth mindset.
Exactly.
And remember, learning never stops, for kids or for adults. So stay curious, keep exploring, and don't be afraid to try something new.
Couldn't have said it better myself. That's all for today's deep dive, everyone.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. We hope you found this exploration of skill fusion activities helpful. If you want to share your thoughts, any questions you have, or even resources you found helpful,
Yes, please do.
connect with us on social media. Until next time, keep those minds engaged and happy learning.